Every time I was on a bike, I'd push, and I'd always push past the limit, and now I really get the majority of my satisfaction from creation. I don't know, some people call me one of the top builders, I guess I am, but what's different is in this realm of building motorcycles, it's not about being the best as much as it's about just creating and wanting to build new stuff and cool stuff. To constantly innovate is the challenge, always doing something new and different. And today it's so tough because there's so many people building really great things, it's hard to stand out, you know? So you gotta constantly push. Creating something, it is about bringing something to life. A motorcycle to me is like the personification of that because it like involves so many different things. It involves art, fabrication, design, engineering, rubber, steel, aluminum, titanium, paint, wood, whatever you can throw at it. So motorcycles are to me like the finest display of bringing an idea to life, making it real, making something you can actually touch, feel, and ride. That's what it's all about. Being on a bike for me is just essential to life. It's the purest expression of freedom and mobility. The faster you go, the harder you ride, the harder you push, you feel it so much more on a motorcycle. If you're going 100 miles an hour, you know it.
Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And a special welcome to this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Hope you had a great week and that your car is running well. Hasn't maybe surprised you with a high repair bill, but in the event that you have a car question, Jan is sitting by. She'll take your questions at 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. And for information from Henry Payne, who is an auto critic for the Detroit News, he has a list of the best features in automobiles, like best fog lights and best grille, in his opinion. And I'm with him on some, not so on others, so we'll tell you about that when we come back from the break. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. If you're not an O Rewards member yet, now you can sign up online at orewards.com. You start earning $5 back for every $150 you spend. Visit orewards.com and become an O'Reilly O Rewards member today. It's fast, easy, and free. Also, this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic brought to you by PowerFrame patented grid technology. PowerFrame grids are up to 66% more durable and more corrosion resistant than other grid designs. You look for the PowerFrame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. Learn more at powerframe.com. Back with your calls live at 888-227-2546. How can you improve battery performance? Make sure your next battery has PowerFrame grid technology, a more advanced kind of positive grid technology that's designed to combat the common causes of premature battery failure. PowerFrame grid technology is formed from a single sheet of precisely rolled and stamped metal. This patented manufacturing process makes the battery more resistant to corrosion. Look for the PowerFrame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. Visit powerframe.com to find a retailer near you.
O'Reilly Protect your wheels and tires from harmful elements and restore shine with Armor All Extreme Tire Shine or Wheel Cleaner on sale at O'Reilly Auto Parts for $3.99 each. Clean, shine, and protect your wheels and tires with Armor All Extreme Tire Shine or Wheel Cleaner at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Bobby Likis with today's Engine Care Spotlight, brought to you by CRC Industries. Where is it? My car used to have it, but now it's all but gone. I'm talking about power. If your vehicle is sluggish, losing MPG, and suffering power and performance loss, could be due to carbon deposit buildup throughout the fuel system. So shock your dirty fuel system with CRC's one-tank Power Renew and reclaim the power, performance, and MPG you've been missing. In fact, test results show up to 97% power recovery, up to 5.7% bump in miles per gallon, 99% injector flow improvement, and cleaner emissions. Best of all, One Tank Power Renew, the most powerful fuel system cleaner on the market, guarantees results with just one use and lasts 4,000 miles. One Tank Power Renew is available at Advance Auto Parts, AutoZone, Pep Boys, and Napa Auto Parts stores. Visit crc1tank.com for a $5 rebate.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
It straddles the line between timeless classic and modern luxury.
The grape tomato.
The ruby red in a sea of greens. The muse behind the great chef, Boyardee.
Beefaroni. Mi amore.
Oh, tomato. Are you fruit? Are you vegetable?
What is my identity?
Groceries, essentials, signature value.
The Everyday Collection by Target.
Hey, Todd. Where's our sub?
Oh, Samantha. I've already given my sub to Sally.
What? Sally? Hey, Samantha. How could you?
I got a phone call. Todd.
Men.
This is Todd.
Get your own steak and bacon melt with mountains of juicy steak and melty cheese. Subway Steak Melts. Subway, eat fresh.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And let's get started with this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for tuning in. If you have a car question or if you just want to make a comment, maybe you've got a local service shop or a new car dealer or a chain store that has really served your car and served you well. And that's not an oxymoron, you know, serving your car and serving you, because your car is really something that you depend on and you need to take care of it. Not everyone does, and not everyone really cares as much about their car as, say, we car guys. And truly, I am a car guy. I still have that passion after all these years in the automotive industry. Was just saw this morning where Jay Leno just bought a new McLaren, a little over $1 million automobile, and he's got 130 cars and 75 bikes, and and who knows what else, But he's different. He's different from a lot of collectors because he buys these cars because he truly loves the automobile, and as fate would have it, he actually bought cars before they were, he was country before country was cool, the song. Well, he bought classics before they really were worth a lot of money, and so he's got cars that I don't know what he paid, let's just say $30,000, $50,000 for, some of which are worth $500,000. And some of the cars he paid a little more for are worth $6 and $8 million because those have come into their own time. I think the Porsche 911, and I do this because it's a little personal touch, I think that the Porsche 911 air-cooled engines are really going to, versions are really going to make their own. And in fact, I was reading in Mecum Auto Auction, I know you've probably seen on a Velocity channel, Mecum, they do a great job where the average, well, I won't say average, where the nice 911 air-cooled Porsches are bringing at least $50,000. And that's interesting. Number one, I have one that I really should sell because I do not drive it. It's beautiful. It's as new. and it's just outside the studio. And speaking of the studio, Jan is in the control room along with Tony and Ted, and Jan will take your calls at 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by K&N, the original performance air filter of NASCAR. You can learn more at knfilters.com. And in my Viper, I said I had a Porsche, but that I don't drive. This is true. I have a Viper that has a K&N filter. I also have a late model Jag that has two filters, and it has a pair of K&N filters in that vehicle. And just filled up this morning, and next this car is getting right at 15 miles per gallon, mostly city driving. And I say mostly. It's less than 4 miles from my home to the studio, and then maybe 9 miles to downtown and back. So it's not like we live in Atlanta or in L.A., or in Philadelphia. We're just a small area, and as a result, I don't buy gas, but just every now and then. Speaking of gas prices in the U.S. average, and this is the regular grade dollars per gallon, including all taxes, $3.67. That was as of July 7th. However, this week they're $3.63, so they're down a few cents. On the West Coast, $4 a gallon. And for the life of me, we've asked this question, I don't know, 100 times. And I could ask it 1,000 times and get 1,000 different answers, but never the right one, or never the correct one. Let's just say that, the accurate one. I've had several people listening. In fact, I remember a gentleman named John who called in and said, well, the price of oil is because of this, this, and this. And we all know that the price of gas is directly related to the price of a barrel of crude. In fact, 70% of the gasoline price comes from the crude, and the other is transportation and marketing and those sorts of things. But just find it interesting that $4 is, I think, our chokehold. That's our threshold to where we say, "Oh, wait a minute, I don't know that I'm going to pay anymore," and that's when we start, ironically, looking at renewable fuels and alternative fuels and battery-powered cars. And as you know, I just recently, or you may not know, I just recently drove a new Cadillac ELR. You have the Volt Chevy, and then you have the Cadillac Volt, which is the ELR, and it is a beautiful car. Tony did a fantastic job, thank you, sir, with shooting that video. And I drove that car from the Gulf Coast of Florida down to Ocala, which is where the great race terminated, and final day of the great race at the Villages. And the car really drives. It was beautiful. The power was great. And see, it doesn't use an engine, ICE, to propel the vehicle. The internal combustion engine is the range extender, and the car holds 9-10 gallons of fuel, and the engine just simply lights up and generates power that moves the car. So it is an electric drive, and it feels just like a standard automobile, except the steering, the car's flatter. I think that has a lot to do with, and you'll see the review if you go to youtube.com/Bobby Likis, that's Likis. The car has a flat feel in as much as the battery pack is the whole floorboard, which is lower center of gravity. So when you turn, it reminds me of in a good way, it reminds me of a go-kart. I mean, can you think of a sophisticated, I don't know if you ever drove a go-kart, I mean a really professional go-kart where you think of turning and you're there. In fact, folks, Andretti and many, many others, and I'm sure Schumacher, who was Michael Schumacher, I hope he's better. Best, he was severely injured in a skiing accident and was in a coma for a long time. He's out of the coma now and showing signs of some recovery. So best to Michael Schumacher. But the bottom line, those gentlemen and others learned to drive Formula One cars, initially driving go-karts. So that's really, really cool. And so speaking of cars, wouldn't you know, the cruise night in Kearney, Nebraska is today. It actually started Wednesday and will go through tomorrow. So I want to reach out to KGFW 1340 AM in Kearney, Nebraska. Yeah, you go, Kearney. Dallas Naw and Andrew Milne, General Manager and Program Director there at KGFW 1340 AM in Kearney. We're going to hear from Brad Kernick and from Kearney in a short. A short means soon. and we're going to learn what's going on with the Central Nebraska Auto Club and how cars have taken over. Talk about Transformers. I mean, Transformers is all animated and, it's not real. Right? Agreed, Tony?
Agreed. And speaking
of
Transformers, isn't Royal Purple making an appeerce in there?
Oh my gosh, Royal Purple, and they are.
They 18-wheeler that gets blown up.
Oh yeah,
like that.
it reanimates as Royal Purple with a semi truck.
See, they should have done a Royal Purple Transformer. The truck could have turned into a big purple monster.
Oh, purple monster, yeah.
Stuff. Probably been the best one of all.
Well, I'll tell you, Royal Purple's done a fantastic job, and thanks to their team, that just really Randy Fisher and Butch Cox, they do a terrific job. But what's great is they do a terrific job because they have a great product. So when you have a great product, it's not as difficult to talk about that product and to say, here's what our product does. The difficult part is for people to try it, because once you try it, it's kind of like, you'll do it. You'll do it again and again and again. Why would you change? Because it's working well. So, and to that end, if you're using a product or gasoline or an oil or a wax on your automobile, you can always try something new. But if what you're doing is working and your car is evidence of it, your car is healthy, then you don't really necessarily have to change. That's not necessarily true for me, because I enjoy and embrace change and I love technology. It can be frustrating, and that's part of, Tony, as you know, the ELR was most frustrating for me because the architecture of the electronics, the customer user experience, the Q it's called, really was and I said, well, maybe it's just me because maybe I'm older, even though I consider myself savvy.
Yeah, we don't hold that against you.
Yeah, right. So yeah, folks, yeah. Walk into the control room and there's Tony and Laura, and I said, hey, I want you to know that there's no problem between you. You're 30 years old and mine. Our age gap is not a problem. I don't hold that against you. And Tony, I really don't hold that against you.
We appreciate that.
Having said that, I asked this young man to get in the Cadillac and say, okay, show me what this does. And pretty soon, he was about as red-faced as I was. You got to admit, the car needs a little quick use. When you get the old hard drives or a new piece of a new computer, it's got that one big fold-out. It says step number 1, number 2. It's got graphics and pictures and what have you. That's what they need. That's what Cadillac needs to add to that car. And because the little Miata that we drove, the MX-5, was also a road test that we did, also on YouTube. Well, it will be next week. That vehicle is really simple, but it has a mini owner's manual. It has the owner's manual, but it has the little easy show and tell, and that's what it's all about. You want to familiarize yourself with your automobile. To that end, you need to familiarize yourself with your automobile. And if you have questions about your particular car or the automotive industry, feel free to call me, and we'll definitely talk about it. I'm Bobby Likis, 888-227-2546. Back with your calls after this break. This mailbag is brought to you by K&N, the world's best air filter. Today's question comes from in New York. Bobby, I recently installed a cold air intake on my 2012 Silverado. Installation was easy, took about an hour and a half, and I can really feel the difference in horsepower. But on a recent service trip, my dealer said the cold air intake will cause a check engine light to come on. What do you think? And if it happens, what should I do? Jason, many things can trigger a check engine light. K&N's cold air intakes are put to extreme tests without triggering those lights. But if a check engine light does come on and you suspect it may be due to the cold air intake, or your dealer says that it is, go to knfilters.com, call the toll-free tech hotline in the upper right-hand corner. A K&N technical advisor will talk you through what to do. Drive to knfilters.com. Take a virtual tour and find all the reasons why K&N is the world's best air filter.
O'Reilly.
Summer's heat can be draining, especially on your vehicle's battery. And O'Reilly Auto Parts has the Superstart battery that's right for your vehicle. Rising temperatures shorten battery life and place added stress on one that's about to fail. Don't get caught in the summer's heat with a dead battery. Get your battery tested today free of charge at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. New 2017 federal fuel economy standards present an opportunity for ethanol blends above E15. Ethanol's high-octane rating is a valuable asset to automakers, as engines are designed to increase efficiency to meet 54.5 mpg standards for car and light-duty trucks. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
When we play a game together, I probably won't say,
Thanks for making me the focus of all your attention and energy.
I'll just give you a hug when I get a triple word score in Scrabble.
Or do a little dance as I make my first million in the game of life.
And I may not say, hey, this means a lot to me.
I may not say it, but you'll know.
Parker Brothers and Milton Bradley invite you to plan a family game night for your family tonight. Everybody who plays wins.
Mom, Dad, thanks for playing.
We'll be back with more music, but first a look at weather. Here's meteorologist Tom Sparks.
Thanks, Chad. There's a front moving in from the south, which is going to mix with warm air, giving us the distinct possibility for showers over the next few days. In fact, some of them are going to be big soakers, let me tell you. However, if you're planning any outdoor activities for the weekend, I have good news.
So it's going to be clear?
No, I just saved a bunch of money on car insurance by switching to Geico.
See what you could save. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us today. Just remember that every Saturday from 10 till noon Eastern Time, we air on your local AM and or FM radio station, and also at Watch Bobby Live. I'll wave to the camera. And recently, I would say, what's been a couple of months now, Tony, we connected with Google and YouTube, and now we're full HD, high definition, using a high-definition camera in-house, and also this allows you to go full screen without having that grainy screen. But more importantly, with our WatchBobbyLive.com capability, you don't have to worry about those pesky interruptions with ads that we had so that was our vendor before. So the bottom line, if you're listening to a call or you're part of a call and someone's really keyed in on what you're going to say, you don't have to worry about being interrupted with commercials. You can also pause it and then rewind, and that's really way cool. It's like having a VCR. I mean, a recorder.
DVR, Bobby.
DVR.
You just stated your age right there.
Yeah, sure I did. Sure I did. Well, I have both. Actually, there's one we have in your studio, in your control room.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
I don't really know what that thing does. What's that big old thing you insert? It's kind of foreign looking to me. I've never seen one of those
It's an
before.
8-track.
Ah, 8-tracks.
Yeah, it's a stick.
Yeah.
Hey, just think of the sticks. Yeah, never mind. Let's go to the phones. Greg, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding.
Hey, Bobby, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, welcome.
I'm enjoying that back and forth you guys are
Yeah,
having right
well,
there. Don't want to razz it too much. I remember a VCR, and I'm only 30, so hey.
Hey, I had a VCR too. I was just a little kid.
Oh, you did have a VCR? You were just a little kid. You're still just a little kid. Okay, Greg, get me out of here. What's on your mind?
You and I spoke about a year ago. I'm down here in Sebring, listening on AM 730, and,
cool.
and you were telling me about the checkered flag. Dumont out here, checkered flag in Sebring?
Yes, the checkered flag, John Dean.
Yeah, just to put a name of the face, I guess, or face of the name. I have a friend of mine is having electrical issues with his 05 F-150 5.3.
Okay.
When I say electrical issues, the starter won't engage. We've tested the starter and we've tested the alternator, and they're A-okay. We're having some sort of, the circuit's not connecting, and one of the safety switches aren't engaging, and I'm not exactly sure of where those safety features or where those, sometimes you have to step on the brake. Sometimes you have to make sure it's in park. and we're missing one of those switches. I think is failing.
Well, a question.
You can't.
So what you're saying, Greg, what you're telling me is that you put the key in, turn the key. Of course, the battery's all good, and that's not a voltage issue. And you put it in park, and then you turn the key to the crank mode, and nothing happens, no noise, nothing.
Nothing will happen there.
Well, you need
You do it 20 times, and on the 21st time, it'll start.
Yeah. Well, there's a starter relay, of course, at the start. Here's the easiest thing to do. One, you put it in park, or you put it in neutral, and neutral may allow you to turn the key. And some cars do, and some cars don't. So if the neutral safety switch, which means that the vehicle will not, is this a standard or automatic?
It's a standard.
Yes. It is standard?
I'm sorry. Automatic. No, sir.
Automatic. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So you can put it in park, and then hold the key to the crank mode, and of course nothing happens. But continue to hold the key to the crank mode and jiggle the parking stick. I mean the shift stick. And then another thing that's just really high tech, and I swear it works and has worked. Take your palm of your hand and wrap on the steering wheel while you hold the key in the crank mode. And what this will do, if there's a contact within the steering column or within the ignition switch, and they vibrate the steering wheel, which is like a tuning fork, and that causes it to crank, then you can do that repeatedly, or as it works, and then you'll know whether or not that the electrical problem is within that arena. And that arena means bolted to the steering column or within that part of the dash, which is the cluster area. Now, otherwise, it could be on the transmission. It could be at the starter itself, and here's the easiest thing. After you do that, Greg, here's one more very easy thing for you to do, and you can try. Go down to the starter, to the igniter terminal at the starter with a voltmeter, and see if it gets its 12 volts. And it probably won't. Probably get 11 and a half. By the time you get down there, you have voltage drop and voltage. That's a problem. But check at the starter, at the wire that engages the solenoid, because that's the key. If it's getting power and nothing happens, then it's in the starter.
Well, we've looked at the starter and had a certified mechanic look at the starter, and I just don't know what other areas.
Well,
you can help me identify. Some of those.
Well, neutral. I just did neutral safety switch, and starter solenoid are the two main points that you have. That's the low-hanging fruit there. That's the easiest things to check. And on electrical, we could spend an hour and a half, and I'll, you know how that is. Hey, thanks for calling, and good luck.
Hey, wonderful. I appreciate the program, guys.
I appreciate you, and the best to the checkered flag there, and WWTK. In Central Florida there, it's not Central Florida, it's near Avon Park there, Sebring, Florida. Brad Kernick. Let's go from Sebring, Florida to the cruise night in Kearney, Nebraska. Brad Kernick, folks, is the chair of the Cruise Night Committee and the Central Nebraska Auto Club. Brad's going to share with us a little bit about the festivities that started this Wednesday, and we'll continue through tomorrow during the 27th annual Cruise Night weekend. Brad, I got to love this. Glad to have you join us.
Well, good morning, Bobby. Thank you so very much. It's a pleasure.
How's the weather in Kearney?
Well, you know what? Hard to believe, but we got here this morning and it was misting, and so that kept the temperatures down. And now it has quit misting, and so people are chamoising off their cars and getting ready for our show and shine.
Brad, I'd like to paint sort of a picture for the folks who are tuned in across the nation, because car shows have always been popular, but now they seem to be regaining popularity. And what's great about car shows, for those of you who don't know, and for those of you who are industry or city leaders, there's a lot of dollars raised for charity and for nonprofit organizations through car shows. And car shows are huge. And Brad, as I understand, paint the picture. How many blocks of downtown Kearney are filled right now with cars?
Well, we get about 5 blocks north and south, Bobby. It's the main street of the Kearney Business District, and then we get the side streets of 3 of the 5 blocks. and then we have 3 large parking lots within the city. So we haven't had less than 500 cars here for the past 5 years, and about 3 of the years we were flirting with 600 vehicles. So there'll be lots and lots of cars, and we're also motorcycles are starting to become an integral part of our show too. So we've got an area reserved for motorcycles.
Well, that reminds, when you said motorcycle, the first thing that came to my mind was Bike Week in Daytona, which is huge. And I had asked a gentleman years ago, was following the Daytona 500, and then Bike Week came up, and I said, let me ask you a question. What do you think about 500,000 bikes and bikers? And I was expecting a local person to say, those bikers. Let me tell you something. It's just the opposite. The local residents love it because it not only is it good for business, but it's good for business. And so there in Kearney, the more cars, the more bikes you have. Let me just off the top of my mind, is there an award or a trophy or a recognition for the vehicle, be it 2-wheel or 4-wheel, that travels the farthest distance to come?
We don't do a distance award, and maybe we ought to think about that. This is a non-judge show, Bobby. I just went back to the 50s up in Minneapolis. They had 12,000 vehicles there, and it was non-judge. So it's similar to that, only on a much smaller scale. But we had a gentleman that was working on his master's degree in business administration about 5 years ago, and he approached me, asked if he could do something for his master's thesis relative to cruise night. And I said, what I'd really like? I would like an economic impact study. And so he went around with a structured questionnaire and asked people how far they came, how much they might spend on motels, on food, on gas, and on miscellaneous shopping. And that's when it was a 4-day show, and now we're at 5. Ended up with an economic impact north of $3 million to the community.
And 27 years ago, how many cars, if you know the answer to this, actually were in the show?
Well, I wasn't personally involved, but from some of the members that were, the information I'm getting is there's like maybe 75 cars, maybe as high as 100 is all. So much smaller car show in the afternoon, dance in the evening, and now we've grown it parts or all of 5 days.
What about the food? I mean, when I think of car shows or fairs or outdoor, I get hungry. So are there, I'm sure all the stores are open and all the restaurants are open, but you have stands or vendors outside?
Yes, sir, we do, Bobby. Number one, the local merchants down here work real hard to accommodate them if they sell food or beverage. But we also have a food court, and that food court's about a block long on both sides of the street, and all kinds of impulse items, from funnel cakes to hamburgers to hot dogs to pop to water, popcorn, all the fun stuff. So we even have cotton candy and ice cream and just the kind of thing you'd expect at a car show.
Yeah, and car shows, Brad, are really great family events. And what a great, kids, you see young kids that are just wide open eyes when they look at an automobile that you and I grew up with. And it's just really, I think it's not only great from an economic standpoint for the communities, but certainly for the growth of the America loves automobiles. And there are many who says, well, America is no longer in love with the automobile, but that's not the case. In fact, today, the choice of new automobiles is greater than it's ever been on the market at any given time. Hey, we're coming up on a hard break. Brad Koenig, Cruise Night there in Kearney, Nebraska, our affiliate KGFW. Brad, thank you so much for sharing with us your great success and continued success on your Cruise Night.
Thank you, Bobby. And if you've got a minute, I've got your good friend Jerry Erickson here, and he'd say a couple words too if you can squeeze him in.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to hold Tony. Let's hold Let's hold Brad through the break so that I don't rush you. We'll come back, and I see that James and John and Mary are on the phone. But We're with Brad Koenig. We're going to come back and talk with another gentleman that I have a personal connection to, as I do with you. Don't touch your dial. Stant is the nation's leading manufacturer of automotive fuel caps, radiator caps, and thermostats. Stant brings their original equipment expertise to the Stant line of quality aftermarket products. Take fuel caps. Stant offers the only aftermarket fuel cap designed and manufactured with all the safety features of OE caps. A lost motion feature gives the cap handle some freedom to turn while maintaining a seal. A breakaway groove allows the cap to remain sealed even if some of the cap has broken away. Both are safety features, helping prevent fuel leakage during a crash. Further, Stant locking fuel caps protect your vehicle from fuel theft and vandalism. Older fuel cap seals can leak over time, which allows fuel vapors to escape and can also affect gas mileage. Replacing your gas cap is an easy and inexpensive maintenance item for your vehicle. Drive to Stant.com to learn more. Stant, we work well under pressure.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
This is Tom. What's up? Sitting in his cubicle.
Actually, it's called a workstation.
Whatever. Tom is slowly dying in his workstation.
I mean, aren't we all dying, really, if you think about it?
Let's not get philosophical, Tom. Just go to careerbliss.com. Follow companies that you find. Apply to openings right online. Check salaries and read reviews. Score a career that's perfect for you.
I feel alive!
Choose happy. careerbliss.com.
I'm your blind spot. And my job is easy. Hide big things. You're good. And if you named your own price on car insurance, you could be paying for this yourself. So get Allstate. You can save money and be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
Dollar for dollar. Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate agents.
And now for the bonus round. If Rome wasn't built in a day, how long did it take?
3 business days. Oh, plus 1 Saturday.
Correct. A good man is hard to find. Why?
Because he's so small.
Correct. Netflix delivers movies by mail, and now what other way?
Directly to your TV.
Correct! Netflix now delivers movies 2 ways, instantly to your TV, plus DVDs by mail. Watch as many TV episodes and movies as you want for only $9 a month. Netflix!
See terms of use.
It's Practical Poly Radio. I've switched to cooking with healthier oils. So now what do I do with all these tubs of lard? Skinny jeans feeling too tight? A bit of lard on your hips and thighs and those pants slide on like a dream. So there's no need for that lard to go to waste. We get your best heart-healthy trade-up with healthier oils, like canola, olive, or other vegetable oils, which can actually lower your chances for heart disease. Learn more at heart.org/facethefats. Canola Info is the national supporter of the American Heart Association's Face the Fats campaign.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you just tuned in, we were talking with Brad Koenig, who is the chair of the Cruise Night and committee there at this in Kearney, Nebraska, for the Central Nebraska Auto Club. Been there, done that. Well, I haven't been to the Cruise Night, but I've been to Kearney with Kappa Ethanol folks, and I can tell you what a great community and great friends there. In fact, had the opportunity to dine with some of the folks that are members of the Central Nebraska Auto Club. One car guy that specifically that I remember is Jerry Erickson, and we were talking earlier with Brad, but now with us from Kearney is Jerry Erickson. Jerry, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic again.
Yeah. Good morning, Bobby.
How
are you, buddy?
I'm great. Just how about you, and how's your wife?
My wife is excellent, and I am great. I am great, buddy. Having a wonderful day here.
How are your cars? And how many cars do you have? I know you had the Mustang, you had the truck, and a couple of other cars.
My 64 Chevy.
Okay, wait now. You got to say that again. I think some car is doing burnout in the background. So say that again.
I've got my 64 Impala that you rode in.
Right.
I've got my 66 Mustang, I've got my 54 pickup, and I'm working on a 57 retractable.
Yeah, it's a shame you don't have anything to do.
I know it. Nothing. Nothing. And the reliability on those retractables is so excellent, you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the retractable. So are you familiar with and have you won the war of the retractable and the relays and the micro switches?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I've had that all apart. And I'm a self-professed electrician, and that's a scary statement.
Well, yeah, but when you think about, Jerry, when you think about the Ford retractable hardtop, the 57, and then you think about every other little coupe like the BMW coupe or the Miata that we just tested, in 12 seconds, you could push a button and that Miata top would fold within itself and fold down between a space between the trunk, still had a trunk, and the passenger seat. I bet that space wasn't 18 inches wide, and yet the whole top folded down in there. It's amazing what today's technology would do. Hey, how's the show going?
The show is going excellent, buddy. We had that recent stuff that slowed up this morning, but we've got what you heard was the motorcycle dyno machine we have here, and we also have a car dyno machine here, either one you want. And the college boys are here, are going to put motors together here about noon. They're telling me that they can do it in less than 12 minutes, which I've seen it done in 14, but I've never seen it done in 12, so I'm anxious to see that.
Well, now wait. Now it has to run when they finish, right?
Yes, sir, they do.
Yeah.
They fire them up. Yep, they fire them up.
Amazing. Well, Jerry, I want to thank you for joining us from Kearney, Nebraska, and congratulations again to the Central Nebraska Auto Club. I know there are charities involved. Just before I let you go, could you give us a couple of nonprofits that are supported by this event?
Oh, sure. We do the Red Cross. We do the United Way. We do the Boy Scouts. We do the Jubilee Center. We do the McDonald's House.
Well, this is truly a community event. Hey, again, it's great to talk with you, and great that this is going on every year. This is the 27th annual cruise night in Kearney, Nebraska. We're talking live with Jerry Erickson. Jerry, the best to you and to Brad Koenig and to everyone there in Kearney who's tuned in. I wish at the end of the program I could use my teleporter and teleport right there with you guys.
Well, you are invited here anytime you want to come. I will put up with you.
That's saying a lot. What a friend. Hey, thank you so much. I'll let you go now, and the best to everyone there in Kearney.
And thanks for what you do with the car business and all of that information you pass out. That is handy stuff.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Jerry. Best to you, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye. There you go, folks. That just doesn't get any better than that. That's really, really. I'll tell you, I'd like for you to get social with me. Like me on Facebook.com/Bobby Likis. That's Likis. Also, follow me on Twitter, Pinterest, and also on Tumblr. Those are 4 different social media areas that all come together. And I want to also, hats off to Tony, our producer, for doing the legwork and the IT work to get us on full screen, true HD, 100% ad-free there, with the ability to rewind, pause, and add me on Google Plus straight from my YouTube channel. You got to love it. I really, really do enjoy that. Let's take another call. Go to Missouri from James. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thank you for holding. And John, thank you for continuing to hold.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I've got a 1996 Jeep Cherokee.
Okay.
That I have no instrumentation lights on.
Okay.
Periodically, when I hit a bump, I'll get an instrument light, but it's very flashy.
Well.
And I know in reason I've got to have a ground side fault because I'm not blowing fuses. Where would the grounding be on that vehicle?
Well, number one, there would be no single ground for all of the lights. There would be the potential. See, it's a 96. More than likely, there's a printed circuit board in the cluster. But let me ask this question and think about this: the cluster interior, the cluster. You're talking about the cluster dash lights, right?
Yes.
Okay. The radio also is illuminated of course, when you turn the radio on, it has its own potential LED lights, but it should be dimmed with the dimmer light by the headlight switch. So my question, if you can answer this question or not, James, at nighttime, or when you can really see, when the dash lights are out, is the radio light also out?
No.
Okay, and then I asked this question: if you were to turn the headlights off, would the radio light still stay on?
Yes.
Okay, so forget that. I was going to use that as a diagnosis. Well, I had to go through the stage. I mean, I had to go there. So here's the bottom line: the power, and that's what you really need to concentrate on. The power that feeds the light is through the dash switch, through the dimmer switch. I know you fooled with that and thumped it and turned it on and off. Does that make any difference ever?
No.
And have you done what I just suggested, though? Have you dimmed it?
I've pulled it out. Yep. I've dimmed it. I've beat on it. I called it everything except the Ford.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, here's the challenge. You need a wiring diagram for that 96 Jeep Cherokee to properly test circuits. You need to know what color wire is hot and what color wire is ground. I mean, it's not going to be red and black. It's never red and black. Yep. It's never black and white, as they say. Because the feed wire could be pink with hash mark purple. I mean, so that's what you need. In Missouri, do you have the opportunity, or folks in repair business? Surely you got a friend.
I know a couple of repair shops that I trust.
Well, why don't you call your friends and ask them if you can. And I do this for anybody that calls my facility. We have books, but for the most part, it's all electronic now. But we've actually let people come in, and a lot of people don't do this because there aren't a lot of do-it-yourselfers that can do it. But what I'm saying is, we let people come into our shop and look through our computer. Put them on one of our computers in the shop and let them look through the wiring diagram, and then print off one of the pages or so. The problem with wiring diagrams is you've got page 1, and that gives you a diagram of one section. It's like a grid. It is a grid. And then it goes to page 2 and 4 and 5, and sometimes a taillight circuit, which includes the headlight switch all the way back to the back of the vehicle, would be 15 pages. So that's why I can't send to you. I would if I could, and I used to try this. I can't send to you the wiring diagram, but your local service shop, a friend should and would, I'm sure, allow you to take a look. And that's what you got to have. You got to have a road map. Otherwise, you don't know which wire's which.
Okay. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you calling. I'm glad you did. Let me know after when you get to the other side. Call me back and let me know what shop helped you, and we'll talk about them on the air and give them an attaboy. I mean, that's the kind of thing that it's not a moneymaker for them. It's a service for their customers or potential customers, and we'll see what they're made of. Hey, thanks for your call, James.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. 888-227-2546. Go to John. Well, it must be electronic day here. John, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding.
Morning, Bobby. My problem is a No. 2 Chevy S10. On the instrument panel, I lost my tachometer, speedometer, odometer, temperature gauge, and fuel gauge.
O2. Okay. This sounds to me like a Terry Elm show, and Terry's our lead ASE certified technician in all 8 categories. He has a PhD in alternate fuels in the automotive realm, and I think he would agree with me that more than likely your challenge is going to be in the body control module and not the speedometer itself or the cluster itself, because the litany, the list of problems that you have cross a lot of lines, but they are all connected to the body control module. Unfortunately, that's not something that you can test. Do you have, does a check engine light come on?
No, well, I can't really tell.
Oh, it doesn't work either?
When I turn the key on,
it works.
I don't get any light.
Oh, really?
Right.
Well, But the car runs and it cranks and
it runs fine.
Okay. I truly believe that you're going to have a problem in the body control module. But that's not good news. But here's the good news. Your vehicle is an O2 and has a computer that with the architecture that allows a technician to use a sophisticated scan tool. And I'm not talking about a parts store with a $25 scan tool that tells you your O2 sensor's bad. I'm not talking about the simple stuff. I'm talking about getting into, like open hood surgery, where this is open architecture inspection or investigation. And the only way that a service shop, which is where you're going to go, the only way a service shop can truly reach into the car and test circuits is to be able to communicate with that circuit, with that body control module, or with that box. And there's 25, you got 25 black boxes in your car. That's the average. So I'm going to say to you that your local service provider should at least, at first, hook up a scan tool, see if there are any codes that are obviously there. And just, John, even if the check engine light would work, it doesn't mean the check engine light would be on for a code to be in the computer, in the onboard computer. So that's what I would say to you, and that is the easiest direction and the most accurate way to inspect for the failure of the components that you're talking about with your car. You got it?
Yep.
Okay, go do it.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're welcome a lot. 888-227-2546. I mentioned earlier on auto critic Henry Payne, the Detroit News, his list of features. Rather than to, like for instance, best headlights, Cadillac Escalade, bordered by an LED tube waterfall. These are his words. A ladder of 5 LED bulbs, each separated by heat-dispersing fins, light the Big Utte's path. The Fox Theater's marquee doesn't have this much bling, and he's an auto critic. And Tony, that's the way auto critics write. I mean, and when we did our review of the Cadillac ELR and the Kia K900 and the Miata MX-5, how you gonna, we just talk cars. We talk in plain talk. But these auto critics, this is the Detroit News, and the first 3 paragraphs were like a novel. It was really very interesting. So what I'll do is I'll share with you, I just shared the best headlights. Best fog lights are VW Golf. So I will share with you in the next hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic more from Henry Payne at the Detroit News, who is an auto critic there. I'll also share with you some very interesting information about the Insurance Institute Highway Safety recommendations of used cars for teens. That's interesting. Now, this is a guide that will help parents toward safer choices, and the Institute for Insurance Highway Safety has compiled its first ever list of recommended used cars for teens. And I have the 10 vehicles, and the price ranges from $5,000 to $20,000. In fact, I think I can squeeze these in. Ford Taurus, large car, 2010 and later, $13,500. Hyundai Azera, large car, 06 and later, $5,700. These are prices. Toyota Camry, $14,300, 12 and later. Saab 9.3, 2005 and later, $4,000. Honda CR-V. Suzuki Grand Vitara, Infiniti EX, Mazda CX-7, Buick Enclave, Chevrolet Traverse. And speaking of car reviews, go to facebook.com/Bobby Likis, that's Likis, and check out our videos for the Cadillac ELR. Tony did a really, really great job, and you'll enjoy just my candor with regard to the car, the Miata MX-5, and I think my favorite, the Kia K900 luxury car. That's right, luxury car. Back with another hour after the break. Like us, you're going to love us. Don't touch your dial.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Did you know the first flex fuel vehicle was not born in the 70s? In 1896, Henry Ford built his first automobile, the quadricycle, to run on pure ethanol. In 1908, the flex fuel Model T, designed to run on gasoline and ethanol, rolled onto American roadways. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Ethanol, RFA.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Well, spank my bottom and call me polyethylene. I'm recyclable. Hi, Tom Bodette for Motel 6. In the spirit of conservation, this commercial uses 100% recycled words. Yep, just like water bottles or cans of garbanzo beans. I've used all 160-odd words in this commercial before to describe Motel 6, like clean, comfortable, and lowest price of any national chain. That was a whole six-pack I just recycled there. I figure why make new words when those work just fine? So I can tell you what a great value Motel 6 always has been and still is without contributing to a verbal landfill or increasing my jargon footprint. I see it as doing our part to conserve our precious verbal resources, and that feels pretty good. Almost as good as saving money. I bet this will sound familiar too. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you. Book online at motel6.com.
It's draining physically, but also mentally, because you put so much focus into it. When you're on a bike, it strips everything else away. It just makes anything else in your life disappear. I'll never be away from bikes. It's just what I do, what my family does, what everyone I know does, so safe to say I'll be around for a little while. I don't see any other way for me personally, but to just go after it every day. It just makes sense to me, so that's what I do. Life is one big project, and we gotta hit it every day. My name's Roland Sands. I am a motorcycle builder, designer. Generally kind of stoked to bring things in my head to reality. That's what it is all about, bringing an idea to life. I mean, there's no more complete circle than that. That's the challenge, you know. I was around motorcycles, I mean, since I can remember, really. It's kind of been in my blood. When I was 18, it was like a drug addiction, man. Nothing else in my life really mattered a whole lot. It was like, I'm gonna go out and ride and race and try and win. So that's what I did for about 10 years. And I didn't know I was gonna be a national champion, and I didn't know that I'd end up winning national road races and breaking track records and racing at the highest level. I really wanted to go and make something of myself that didn't really have to do with anybody else, because I knew that no one would be able to take that away from me, you know? Pushing myself seems kind of like a way of life. Every time I was on a bike, I'd push, and I'd always push past the limit, and now I really get the majority of my satisfaction from creation. I don't know, some people call me one of the top builders, I guess I am, but what's different is in this realm of building motorcycles, it's not about being the best as much as it's about just creating and wanting to build new stuff and cool stuff. To constantly innovate is the challenge, always doing something new and different. And today it's so tough because there's so many people building really great things, it's hard to stand out, you know? So you gotta constantly push. Creating something, it is about bringing something to life. A motorcycle to me is like the personification of that because it like involves so many different things. It involves art, fabrication, design, engineering, rubber, steel, aluminum, titanium, paint, wood, whatever you can throw at it. So motorcycles are to me like the finest display of bringing an idea to life, making it real, making something you can actually touch, feel, and ride. That's what it's all about. Being on a bike for me is just essential to life. It's the purest expression of freedom and mobility. The faster you go, the harder you ride, the harder you push, you feel it so much more on a motorcycle. If you're going 100 miles an hour, you know it. It's draining physically, but also mentally, because you put so much focus into it. When you're on a bike, it strips everything else away.
White with Marty White, thank you very much. Also, an easier number for you to remember is 888 Car Clinic. That also dials right directly into the control room where Miss Jan will take your call, put you in a queue, and I will put you on the air. I see that we have Bill already in the queue, so if you'd like to call, now's the best time. 888-227-2546, 888 Car Clinic. I will share with you. I mentioned earlier in today's show, Henry Payne, auto critic at the Detroit News, has a best of the best features in autos at 2014. I think it's a new list. It's new for them to do this, and it's kind of like you know, reaching under the bumper of an Escape, and the deck lid opens up, or the hatchback opens up. That's pretty neat. So I'm going to share that with you. Gas prices I'll share with you, and I've got a couple of a little shift gears here. A Lincoln Navigator that's got a problem with a blower motor, and a Subaru Outback that's got a problem starting or cranking. Very interesting. These are kind of field fixes. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by Royal Purple. Royal Purple with HMX. That's high mileage engine oil. You should use it. It works great if your car's got 75 to 100,000 plus miles on it. And Maxtane Total Diesel Fuel Additive as well from our friends and our great partners at Royal Purple. Back with your calls at 888-227-2546. I'm Bobby Likis with today's Drive Smarter tip, brought to you by Escort, the world's best radar and laser detectors. When I say horsepower, what comes to mind? If you think go, you're right. But if you think stop, you're right, too. Horsepower measures muscle, usually thought of in terms of acceleration. But what goes up must come down. Yes, it takes horsepower to stop vehicles as well. In fact, it takes twice as much energy, or horsepower, to bring a vehicle to a stop as it does to get the same vehicle up to speed. Now you know why everyday driving, even in cold weather, creates extremely high temperatures within a car's braking system, up to 600 degrees. So make sure your car's horses have the right power to whoa as well as to go. Have your brakes checked regularly by an automotive professional. This Drive Smarter tip is brought to you by Escort. Don't just drive, drive smarter. Escort. To choose the best radar or laser detector for you, drive to escortradar.com.
If your car's air conditioning isn't blowing cold air,
it isn't,
then you need an AC Pro.
Is there one around here?
Yeah, you.
Me? But I can't.
New do-it-yourself AC Pro is the 10-minute cold air solution. It's fast, easy, and saves you money. With AC Pro, you'll have cold air blowing again in just minutes.
Wow, it's freezing in here, and I did it myself.
See? You are an AC Pro.
Yes, I am.
New AC Pro, the 10-minute do-it-yourself auto AC cold air solution.
Hey friends, Bobby Likis here. Did you know that transmissions and differentials don't have a cooling system? That's why upgrading lubricants is critical to the performance and longevity of those hard-working parts. Royal Purple's Max Gear and Max ATF not only reduce operating temperatures, but Max Gear and Max ATF also provide maximum wear protection and free up more torque. Go to royalpurple.com for more information or to find a dealer near you. That's Royal Purple, the performance oils that outperform.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
First rule of business: hard work equals success. That's why Geico is consistently rated excellent or better in terms of financial strength. Second rule: don't steal a co-worker's egg salad, especially if it's marked the gecko. Come on, people. Geico is the third largest car insurance company in the nation. But it's not like we're kicking back now having a cup of tea. Takes a lot of sweat to become that big. Of course, geckos don't literally sweat. It's just not our thing. But I do work hard, mind you.
Home. It's the place you like to make warm and inviting. What could be more welcoming than the aroma of fresh coffee brewing? When the coffee is Starbucks, the experience only gets richer. You'll find Starbucks coffee at your grocery store so you can enjoy it at home. Its distinctive roasting style and rich, authentic taste show how seriously we pursue the art of coffee. Savor its aroma, then pour a cup and invite your senses to take flight. Starbucks coffee at your grocery store.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Hey, thanks for tuning in today, and I want to get started. I want to reach out before we get too deep into this hour to KWHN 1320 AM in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Tony Behringer and Kelly Rav, the general manager and program director there at Car Clinic Affiliate. KWHN 1320 AM in Fort Smith, Arkansas. If that's your neck of the woods, let me hear from you at 888 Car Clinic. Jan will take your call, as I often say, and put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by Escort. You can take your ticket protection to the max with a Passport Max, the first and only detector with HD radar performance. You can visit escortradar.com to learn more. I have a Passport Max in my car, and it is not only a beautiful machine, I mean, aesthetically, it's beautiful, but also it works so well. And I have it set at 10 miles per hour, 10 mph, over the speed limit. So whenever I exceed that threshold, which is 10 miles per hour over posted speed limit, and there's the key word, folks, posted, because sometimes you're on A Street and it's 30 miles an hour, and then you turn right onto 9th Avenue, and it's 40 miles per hour, and then you turn left on another thoroughfare, and it's 38 miles. How do you know? Well, the Passport Max knows, and when you exceed whatever you set your customizable Passport Max for, when it exceeds that, then a voice comes up and says, exceeding speed limit. An annoying little voice says exceeding speed limit, but it's better than getting a ticket, and also it's better than speeding, especially in city limits. You never know. It could be dangerous. So, again, go to escortradar.com for more. And I'm going to take a call from Bill, who called in early. I do want to share with you that CRC giveaway. We're giving away a prize pack from CRC. And I'll share that with you in a minute, but I want to go to Bill first. So this is another one. Actually, yeah, this is another one.
We got another one?
Yeah, so Ted, this is another one. So it's a social media prize pack. So, and in fact, Tammy, who won the recent CRC, Tammy's son drives an 84 Camaro, and he loved the Car Clinic CRC prize pack. But let's go to Bill and talk with Bill. Bill, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding. Appreciate your patience.
Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning,
I enjoy
sir.
your very informative show every week.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. What can I do for you?
Got an 11 Grand Cherokee with a 5.7 in it with an existing condition of a cruise control.
Okay.
And when I say that, the cruise control works fine except descending a hill. It will not hold back. It will go in and start to hold. Tachometer will go up on it, then it releases, and then it keeps hunting. And it's a Florida car. I've just noticed it up here for the past year or so. I have had it into the dealer. Chrysler states on their case report that it is not supposed to. Well, I've got a friend that's got the identical car. It holds within 5 miles an hour. And I have noticed lately in manually downshifting through the stick, there's no difference in drive or fifth, which I don't think there should be, in ratio, either in going up or coming down. But when you get down to second and even to first is when it really becomes effective. Now, my question to you is can this be through the computer?
Oh, yes.
And it can be with a scan tool.
Oh, absolutely. What's happening there is when you back off the throttle, and there again, that's something. And let me just ask this question, Bill. Did the dealer road test the car? Hopefully with you. I know better because they just don't do that. They should. But did the dealer drive the car and secure the scan tool and experience what you're talking about?
No, Bobby. I think a man did ride with me once, and he saw it. He said he would put it on the computer and scan it and peek it out.
Well, here's what happens when you backpedal and you exceed the threshold, and you've got the cruise set. It will downshift out of overdrive and into a gear that is a lower gear, so that it holds back the vehicle. Quite honestly, I don't like that, but that's not for me to like or not. That's just the way cars are made. The old cruise controls didn't do that. They simply just backed off the throttle and let it coast ever how fast it would coast. The newer cars do maintain. And in order to maintain, you not only maintain up, but you maintain down. So having said that, what should be done is it would take two people. I think, yeah, it does. You should drive the vehicle. A technician should ride with his or her scan tool connected to the onboard computer to read the what gear ratio. I'm sorry, to read what gear, if that gear is working, because you're saying it teases. You just said and just stated, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that it starts to work and then it freewheels. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Well,
the tachometer will go up.
Right. And when a tachometer goes up, that's when it downshifts, and it says, okay, you're supposed to hold back on the car when it downshifts. So my question to you is, does the tachometer stay up, or you said it hunts?
No, it does not. It
Okay.
will not
All
stay
right.
up.
Okay.
It will go back to its original.
Right.
And then as the car picks up speed, and I don't know what speed, I mean, it'll go up to whatever the coasting ability is.
Well, yeah, and you're there in North Carolina, so you've got some hills. You know, Bill. Here's the short answer, if there ever is a short answer to an electronic problem, and there's not, except if the battery's dead. Then that's the first thing you do. But the bottom line is, you need to drive, and a technician needs to ride. And here's what I firmly believe: if that vehicle does indeed downshift, which we know that it does, but then it doesn't, it's not happy in that downshift, and it cancels out of that mode. There's one main, in my heart of hearts, there's one target that could affect that. If you, and you're not doing this, but if you were to touch the accelerator, it will cancel that mode. If you just touch it, and I'm talking about a 40 thousandths movement there, which is not very much. 5 pieces of paper. Here's or 20 pieces of paper. Here's a bottom line. The thickness of 20 pieces of paper. So when I was driving the ELR Cadillac, it had a similar mode because I was in the hold mode, and there are 4 different driving modes. I won't go through all the litany of the electronics. And I found myself touching the accelerator pedal so I could cancel out what it was doing. It was doing a similar thing. And I would touch it so it would freewheel. Now, I know that your Jeep Cherokee will also cancel the cruise or override the cruise if you touch the accelerator pedal, but you're not touching the accelerator pedal. Therefore, I believe that the throttle position switch could be the culprit. The throttle position switch determines and tells the computer the relative position of the throttle and by driver demands, by driver input. So here you are, you're starting to coast, and all of a sudden it says, okay, hold back, it downshifts, and then if you touch the accelerator, it would not hold back, it would freewheel or upshift again. I believe that the car, we know it's doing it by itself, so what could cause it? A throttle position switch, and if so, that would be test. You could test the throttle position switch by looking at that particular part of the function during the incident. Do you understand what I just said?
Yes, I do.
Well,
and I will add that we're not on cruise control, and I paddle shift it down. And the hill, I become down part of it. I go back to drive, and it will still hold it until I tap the accelerator.
Well, yeah, because when you tap, because the computer thinks one thing, and then it's just like a fuel cut. All electronic vehicles, when driven by the rear wheels, when the engine is driven by the rear wheels, meaning that the engine's going beyond 1,500 RPM with the throttle all the way off, the computer will cut the fuel. And this is, you can really feel this with a standard transmission vehicle, and it's for emissions, but it was actually created by Bosch to facilitate the Jaguar racing teams to outrun the Porsches because they weren't fast enough, so they saved fuel every time they turned and went into a corner, like in Sebring, Florida. This is years ago, Group 44, as a matter of fact, and Bosch created a fuel cut, and the industry and the OEMs all incorporated a fuel cut so that when you're coasting, you're not feeding the engine fuel, so all injectors shut down the fuel. However, when you come to a stoplight, what happens? When you get below 1,500, it comes back on, so it overrides that. And this brake's going to override me, so I'll be back with your calls at 888-CAR Clinic. Don't touch your dial. Polestar with plasma core spark plugs use pulsed power technology to produce more engine power. These pulsed power spark plugs use the electrical energy delivered by your vehicle's ignition coil and store it in a patented capacitor. When this stored energy is released in a quick and powerful burst, it produces a bigger spark delivering 5 million watts of peak power, 1,000 times more than the 50 watts of power output delivered by the top-performing Iridium spark plug. This increase in power enables Polestar with plasma core to ignite the fuel charge instantaneously and burn it more completely, creating more force on the piston during the power stroke, which generates more torque to the crankshaft and more power to the wheels. Fuel economy, power, and longevity all come from efficient combustion. Simply put, the more efficient the engine is, the better it runs. Learn more about Polestar Pulse technology at Polestar.com. You can buy these plugs at major retailers such as AutoZone, O'Reilly Auto Parts, Advance Auto Parts, Pep Boys, Jegs, or online at Amazon. Polestar with Plasma Core. Bigger spark, more power, longer life.
My car's a sauna. What's with this air conditioning?
You need an AC Pro.
Know any?
Yeah, you.
You got me confused with somebody else.
You're a pro with new do-it-yourself AC Pro, the 10-minute cold air solution.
But
You know where to find the hood?
That thing up front?
Exactly. AC Pro's easy, fast, and saves you money. You'll have your car's AC blowing cold air in minutes.
I did it! It's like a freezer in here.
Be a pro with new AC Pro, the 10-minute cold air solution.
Got a sweater?
Many oil filters use cheap paper filtration that fails after only a few thousand miles. That's why Royal Purple developed its new extended life oil filter. Royal Purple uses unique microglass filtration that removes 99.9% of harmful contaminants and provides extended protection. Royal Purple filters are available online and by special order at quality auto parts stores. Go to royalpurple.com for details. Royal Purple, the performance oil and filters that outperform.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Live from Progressive.
Flo here. Today we're talking to
Newlyweds.
Hi, my husband and I are combining our policies, and my mother-in-law says we can save with Progressive.
Well, with online, homeowners, and multi-car discounts, saving on car insurance is easy.
So you're saying she's right?
I'm saying get used to it.
Get great savings and more at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Mayfield Village, Ohio. Discounts not available in all states. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Every year there are over 20 million car wrecks in this country. It's not pretty. But people bang out the dents, rebuild them, and resell them to, well, maybe you, bucko. If you're buying a used car, it's a crapshoot. Get a vehicle history report from Carfax.com. They'll give you the real history on any used car. Visit CARFAX.com or ask your dealer for a Carfax report. Don't buy a used car without Carfax.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic, folks. Thanks for tuning in every Saturday from 10 till noon right here on your local AM and or FM radio station, and at Watch Bobby Live as well. A special thanks to YouTube. Google does a fantastic job. My team does a fantastic job. We're in a full HD, full screen, pause, rewind, really way cool. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Tammy Rydell of Rochester, New York, and Tim Harwick of Washington, D.C. for winning the CRC social media giveaway. They each won a prize pack from CRC consisting of CRC Gasoline 1-Tank Power Renew and the CRC Ceramic, which is a ceramic brake fortified brake system grease, and CRC's GDI IVD, that's a direct gasoline injection intake valve cleaner. And I won't go into the details except to tell you that with direct injection, there's some challenges with regard to the intake valve developing carbon or polyps, as I like to call them. Well, the CRC GDI IVD intake cleaner takes care of that. CRC mass airflow sensor cleaner, we use that in our shop as well. CRC QC82 Pro Strength Degreaser. I bet a lot of you use that, and on your motorcycles that would really be great. And last but not least, the CRC Freeze Off. And folks, you'll stay tuned for our next social media giveaway coming up very soon. All you have to do, this is a social media giveaway, is like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Tumblr, and or Pinterest to win. And I want to, again, Tammy's son, this is really cool. Tammy Rydell of Rochester says her son has an 84 Camaro, and he loved this prize pack. Yeah, I'll say. And speaking of loving, Here's a prize pack, and then I'm going to go to the phones to Ed. I'm coming to you, and to Mike, and to Ray as well. But listen, folks, as promised, we have another great giveaway for you. This week's giveaway is a Harley-Davidson apparel giveaway, and the winner will receive a Harley-Davidson black neoprene hat, 2 Harley-Davidson's breast cancer awareness scarves, and this is way cool. In fact, we had Karen Davidson on the air, I don't know, last year, and really she supports the cancer awareness with the scarf. Was really a touching story. So you have a chance, check it out. We're also in this prize pack 2 Harley-Davidson head wraps and 1 Car Clinic, that's right, from yours truly, mouse and t-shirt. All you got to do is go to Facebook and like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Pinterest, or on Tumblr to enter for your chance to win this 2, 4, 5, 6-piece special prize pack and more from Harley-Davidson and Bobby Likis Car Clinic, and just like us on Facebook. Okay, who's up? Ed. Ed, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us today.
Thank you, Bobby.
What can I do for you?
The reason I'm calling, my 2000 Tundra finally needs a brake job, 190,000 miles. And I went and got some estimates, and they are dramatically different. One for turning the rotors was $340, while the same procedure at a different place was nearly $600. And one of the places told me that in my Tundra, because I'm experiencing vibration, that quite possibly the rotors could be warped. In this person's opinion, they could not be cut. They're going to have to be replaced because at 190,000 miles, there's probably nothing really left, no substantial rotor left to do any cutting on. And I'm trying to decide what is the best route to take. I want to try and take this Tundra to 300,000 miles if I can.
I hear you, yeah.
I don't want to go the cheap route. I just want to do the right thing. And I wanted to see, what is your experience with rotors warpage on a Tundra?
Toyota makes great cars and great vehicles. I mean, here you got 200,000 miles and you talk about a brake job. I mean, think about it, what you just said. Here's the challenge, but it's not really a challenge. Each rotor has forged the specifications of minimum thickness. So let's just say that it was, and let's just use 1 inch, and it's 1 inch thick, new. And then you drive at 200,000 miles and you've got 70,000 wear, or 80,000 or 100,000 wear, which is a lot of wear for the brake rotor. Because see, a brake pad, it has a nominal thickness of some 400, I think 420 thousandths as I recall. I don't know where that number comes from, but I remember looking it up for a particular car. And so the thickness of the brake pad starts at 400 thousandths, and then when you get down to a third of that is when you need brakes because they'll overheat quickly. Having said that, the only way, and I want you to know this, Ed, the only way that a shop can know whether or not your rotors can be machined is to put them on a machine, and here's the challenge with that. You have to commit to one of these shops before either one of them knows. Now, it's apparent to me, and may not be to you, and I'm glad you called me, it's apparent to me that the shop that you've checked and you've talked with has had a problem with Tundras before and knows at 200,000 miles the likelihood of having new rotors being needed, and pre-warned you ahead of time, where they're not worried about the price, they're worried about the job. If they were worried about the price, that they would have quoted you half that or less than that, and then they could always call you back and say, oh, we got a problem here. But I like the idea. I like the idea that they're going in with the option of replacing the rotors so they know the quality of the work will be done. And because that's a safety-related item, I'm inclined to go with them.
Yeah, and I feel the same way, because I really do appreciate the upfront worst case scenario.
Well, you are a great steward of your automobile, and as evidenced by your success. And folks, I'm going to ask this gentleman a question. So, Ed, given what little that I know about you as an individual, I'm going to hazard a question here. Have you ever had or lost an engine in any of the vehicles that you've owned?
No, sir. I change my oil religiously on time, the same time I rotate my tires.
Yeah. And
So,
you
I
won't.
keep after it.
Yeah. You know it. And you had another question. I interrupted, I think.
No, sir. No, I did not. I just, even comparing apples to apples, there's still a significant difference in the two estimates.
Well, ask for a breakout. Ask for a breakout. Ask for a line item. Ask each one of them to provide you with a line item, and make sure that you're using a quality pad. And let me tell you, brake pads run the gamut. I mean, it's like from $25 to $125. It's unbelievable. And for your particular type of driving, I favor the ceramic pad. I know that there's a company called Akebono, Akebono, that makes. They actually brought ceramics to the United States through the OEMs in 1987, and I've met the principals of that company. I've actually spent time with a gentleman who is no longer with that company, and I like their product. Their product was was so expensive that it really didn't sell well, but now people are realizing that, wait a minute, this Akebono is a great brand. And they make other brands too, but the bottom line, and I think they had to do that, Ed, to do business in the United States with the aftermarket. Now with the OEMs, that's a whole different world of pricing, because you're doing parts selling in mass. But when you bring the same part to the aftermarket and put it at a O'Reilly Auto Parts store, it has to be competitive, or else someone walks in and says, well, how much is a brake pad? And they say, well, we've got these, and we got these for $100. Well, I'm not, without education, there's no value. And that's where, that's what drives me, education and value in the automotive aftermarket service industry.
Now, they do make partial ceramics, do they not? That does have ceramic components, not 100% ceramic. As you said, the spectrum is huge.
I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I'm sure you could find a partial, but let's face it. I mean, I don't know the answer to that. But,
yeah, I understand.
You can find anything. They make anything you want these days, and if they don't, and you ask for it, wait 6 months, they're going to come back with it.
Right. Very good.
Hey, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a great question, by the way. Let's take another call from Terry. And Terry, WNDB, Daytona. Terry, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. What's up?
Hey, Bobby, this is Terry from the WNDB Racing broadcast team, and we are groundbreaking, exciting things happening here on WNDB as we speak. We just switched on our FM translator, and we are now on 93.5 FM. While your show is on for the first time, WNDB is on the FM with an FM translator here in Daytona Beach.
Now, let me ask a question. Are we still on 1150 AM and FM?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. The AM will not go away. We're just going to have a strong FM signal and I'll be on both sides, so that when we go directional at night, we'll reinforce that with the FM so that we don't have that fade out when we go directional. But also just because a lot more FM radios out there than AM radios.
So you're bringing 1150 AM talk radio to the FM world. Your competitors ain't going to like this, Terry.
we're excited, and to do it during your show, Bobby, is just so cool to think that you're on the FM dial here in Daytona Beach right now.
That's you just made I've got a big smile, and just unreal. 93.5 FM. Was that an FM station prior?
Yes, it was. They picked it up from another local Cornerstone here, had several stations, and they bought it from them, and we've now hooked it to where it just turned it on literally less than 5 minutes ago. We are, literally just switched it on just now.
Well, congratulations to you and Mike Multane, Mad Dog. What a great team. Let me ask a question. What's the footprint of 93.5 FM?
We don't know yet. We got to ride the signal, Bobby.
Well, I'm going to check it out myself. And folks, there you have it. Terry from WNDB simulcasting Bobby Likis Car Clinic on 1150 AM there in Daytona Beach and Ormond Beach, and now 93.5 FM. Now, here's what I'm going to ask. For everyone who's tuned in right now to 93.5 FM, send me or reach out to Terry at 93.5 or go to carclinicnetwork.com or just Google Bobby Likis. That's easy. Likis. Google and like us on Facebook because we're giving away some great prizes, and I'd love to hear how far we are reaching in addition to the Daytona immediate area. And Terry, got a hard break coming up. Thank you so much for calling, and congratulations to me as well.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
I'm Bobby Likis with today's Drive Smarter tip, brought to you by Escort, the world's best radar and laser detectors. When I say horsepower, you think giddy up and go, right? But it takes twice as much horsepower to bring the vehicle to a stop. Make sure your car's horses have the power to whoa as well as to go. Have your brakes checked regularly by an automotive professional. This Drive Smarter tip is brought to you by Escort's Passport Max, the first and only all-digital detector with HD radar performance. Don't just drive, drive smarter. Escort.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another great place to use Visa. They giggle and jiggle, they jump and they sing, they poke and they play with most wondrous things. And that's just the parents. At Creative Kid Stuff in Minneapolis, you'll find the most enchanting toys and games for kids of all ages. But if you want to bring home their innovative playthings, you better bring your Visa card. Because at Creative Kid Stuff, you can let your child's imagination run wild, but you can't use American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
There are over 358 million trillion gallons of water on Earth. But not all water is created equal. Only 1/1000,000,000% is filtered naturally beneath the Earth, with a distinct balance of minerals, and emerges crisp and refreshing enough to be called Zephyr Hills. Zephyr Hills 100% natural spring water, born better.
You, my friend, have connections in the government. Yes, you. USA.gov, the official source for government information on thousands of topics. And like any good connection, there's no telling where it can take you. Why, one day you're getting student loan information. Next thing you know, you need job hunting tips. Today's road construction info could have you searching for telecommuting ideas tomorrow. The more you use USA.gov, the more uses you'll find for it. Passport applications, for example. They've been known to lead to a sudden interest in travel advisories. Our new mobile apps will even update you on the go. So whether you have information to get or ideas to give your government, check out USA.gov. Who knows? Lottery results today could lead to retirement planning tomorrow. USA.gov. With the right connections, there's no telling where you can go.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And a special welcome to this final section of and segment of, and I don't normally talk about, this is our third segment of the second hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic, but just for those of you who may just tuned in this morning to 93.5 FM in the Daytona Beach area, WNDB is live on FM. If you heard me before the break, you heard Terry who called in. And folks, we started Bobby Likis Car Clinic 23 years ago, and we started on WNDB 1150 AM. Mark Bernier at that time, and you'll have to ask him how this happened, but he was the program director, and he said, yeah, I'll take that program. He's a man of few words and until he gets on the radio, and like I. And the bottom line is we're still there 23 years. It's one of our longest, if not, it is our longest running family affiliates, WNDB, and to think that today we roll out 93.5 FM, so we're simulcasting on the AM and FM side. So here's what I want to share with you. Next week, just for you to know, Polestar, and Polestar is a company, it's Interpulse really, but Polestar with plasma core spark plugs uses a pulse power technology which produces more engine power. The bottom line, these spark plugs have and deliver 5 megawatts. 5 megawatts. And so that's efficient combustion. It helps with fuel economy, power, and longevity. And simply put, the more efficient your engine is, the better it runs. You can learn more about Polestar Pulse technology at polestar.com. But the bottom line is, next week on our social media giveaway, we're going to be giving away a set of not a pair, a set where you've got a 4-cylinder, 8-cylinder, or whatever, Polestar spark plugs that use a special capacitor that delivers a bigger spark. It's unbelievable. It's a patented capacitor. And I won't go into the technical except to tell you that while most plugs fire for 300 microseconds, or this plug fires in 1 nanosecond. 1 nanosecond. It's unbelievable. Lou Camilli, who is the technical officer at Interpulse, and I believe the person who invented this technology, was on the air with me, and I've talked with him this week to learn more about the Polestar plugs. But the bottom line, next week I'm going to be giving away on social media. And as I mentioned earlier, speaking of social media, like us on Facebook, because we're giving away Harley Davidson apparel this week. So with that, let's take another call let's go to Nebraska. Mike, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thank you for holding.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I got a question about the 2000 Ford Ranger V6 four-wheel drive.
Okay.
Anyway, when the transmission is in, you can turn the overdrive off and on. Well, if the overdrive is in the on position, when you first take off and everything's cold and everything, the transmission works great. But after it gets warmed up and then it starts slipping and it just going in and out of the overdrive.
Right.
But I'll push the little button on the gear shift knob to shut the overdrive off, and then it runs okay. Now I'm going to take it in when I get back. I'm middle of Nebraska right now.
Okay.
But anyway,
Mike,
the guy. Go ahead.
I believe that you have an internal clutch failure with the overdrive section which is located in the rear inside of the transmission, and I believe that transmission is going to have to come out of that car because the overdrive clutches are worn out, and I don't know what causes that, but it's not good news. And hopefully I'm incorrect. I'm mistaken. But it would not surprise me. Have you smelled the fluid? Do you smell any? Does it look? How does it look? Have you looked at it?
Well, it's all that brand new fluid filter and everything in it. It was brown when and I bought it. I bought it with and I don't drive it that much.
Sure.
I drive it probably 3,000 miles a year.
Right. Wow. Well, my question was, what shape is the fluid? And you already told me that the fluid is new now, but it was black and dark. And so I sincerely believe that you're going to have to take the transmission apart. Now, here's something for you to know. There are 3 different directions you can go here, and I'll be brief. One, you can buy a reman transmission if you're planning on keeping the car forever, and you get a long warranty, and all the pieces that are worn out are replaced, and all the pieces that are not worn but are burnished or polished or have some signs of wear but are still have good life in them will be returned to the factory specs. That's what remanufacturing means, reman. In fact, this is such a hot topic that in the state of California years ago, at least 8-10 years ago, they came out with a definition of rebuild, reman, and overhaul transmissions because there was so much gray areas. So a reman transmissions is plug and play. You take the old one out, you put a new one in, and there are a couple of big key players in the aftermarket. You can buy a transmission, or your local shop provider can. That's one direction. That'll cost you a lot of money. But if you want to keep a vehicle, and be done with it, I did that with my vehicle when I destroyed the transmission. But that's another story. Now, that's the one way. Another way would be to go to a local transmission repair shop, a specialist, and ask them to rebuild your unit. And when they rebuild, they're not going to replace all of the pieces. They're going to replace what's defective. And then they're going to put new seals and gaskets and clutches throughout the transmission. But if it needs a front pump, that's not included in the rebuild price up front, and you won't know that till you take it apart. So rebuild would be an overhaul rebuild. That's probably the same thing, in essence. So you can get a price, and what I would do if I were you. Let's see, you're in Nebraska. Let me give you a website that will connect you to a lot of local shops. Although we in the service business don't like it when people call and say, well, you charge for this. Well, you never know until you look at whatever this is bad, if you know what I mean. But with regard to your transmission and the overdrive loss, which is a more common problem, are you at a place where you can write?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, asashop.org. And ASA stands for Automotive Service Association, which I'm a member, and many shops around the nation are a member. And so, asashop.org.
Okay.
And put in, a 5-mile radius or a 10-mile radius and hit the go button, and 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 shops will come up in your immediate area. And then you can visit their website and see what they're all about. You may as well. You got time, and you can call and say, "Do you have a transmission specialist in house? Do you perform these repairs in house?" And if they say yes, then ask some key questions. Are you familiar with the Ford Ranger overdrive transmission? And that's what you really want to know. Because you want someone who has been there and done that, and you want someone that you can talk with. And in this conversation, and Mike, here's the key. In the conversation that I'm suggesting that you have with your local service shops, 2, 3, now I wouldn't call over 3, but you'll get a feel. See how much time the service shop will give you to start without you coming in. And if they're interested in your business, they're going to share with you what they know and what they don't know. If they can't answer a question, they better say, I can't answer that because I don't have the car in front of me. And then you can say, well, just in theory, but I don't know that I would ask for a price, because if you start to price shop, then my concern is that somebody's going to undercut somebody else, and you're going to end up price repair versus quality repair, and that's not worth the dollar. That's not worth the money you save. I know that from having been in the business 43 years. Does that make sense? And can you take it from here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
all right. I'm glad you called. I'm glad you called. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your help, and you have a great day.
Thank you, sir. I already have. I appreciate you and your confidence in me. Let's take another call from Ray. Ray. In Alabama. Ray, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic from Nebraska to Alabama.
Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning,
we love
sir.
you in Mobile.
Hi, Mobile. Great Mobile. Hey, let me tell you something. You know when I think of Mobile, I think of Joe Bullard and family, and Jonathan Back. I got to share this with you. Jonathan Back is a service director at Gulf Coast Jag, which is Joe Bullard Jag. And this gentleman continues to under-promise and over-deliver, and just on minor things. And so I can openly, and just did, say that he does a great job. But let's move on. You have a question.
Yes, sir. I have a 99 GMC Safari.
Okay.
V6 4.3 liter engine. I notice when I push the accelerator, either in park or neutral or driving in gear, I get a whining noise.
Okay.
It whines. But yesterday when I was driving, when I hit 50 miles per hour, the whine went away.
Okay. Here's what I want you to do.
Yes,
forget the road test, because you said it makes noise in park.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So bring it up to 1,500, 2,000 RPM when the whine is evident, and then turn the steering wheel to the left and right and see if it really aggravates the whine, because that could be power steering pump or a hose collapsed internally or low on fluid.
Yeah, I did that, and it didn't make any difference.
Okay. Then let's switch gears. Now I want you to bring it up to a whine, turn the headlights on bright, turn the defroster on, turn the blower motor up. And what I'm asking you to do is to load the battery, because I think the whine may be coming from the alternator.
I see. I did that too. It didn't make any difference.
Okay, then here's something. Let me ask you if you have done, and you can't
do
this.
But, yes,
that's okay. Here's something you can't. Here's something you probably didn't do, but I want you to try.
Sure.
With the engine off, it must be off.
Yes, sir.
Disconnect the wire that feeds the alternator.
Okay.
Crank it up. See if you can make it whine. If you can't make it whine, put an alternator on it.
I see.
Otherwise, you can go to O'Reilly Auto Parts, get a mechanic's stethoscope.
Yes, sir.
And then touch very carefully for places that don't move, but adjacent to, like a tensioner pulley or a water pump, or just different places of the engine, and see if you can determine where that whine's coming from while someone holds the throttle up. And that's all the time that I have. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's not a water pump, right?
Oh, I don't know that. That's we don't know. We don't know what it is yet. We just,
okay.
All right.
We love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, baby. I love you well. Okay. Quick. Let's take a call from Eric in Kansas. Eric, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic in Kansas. Glad to have you join us. Quickly.
Hey, I'm looking for 30-weight motor oil for lawnmower. I used to use a Opti 4 motor oil. I can't find it anywhere. But
go to royalpurple.com. In fact, there's two websites: Royal Purple, easy to say, royalpurpleconsumer.com, and look for their oil. And yes, you can use Royal Purple in your lawnmower. I've got it in my generator, and I mean, it was one of those duh moments. And one of my team asked me, he said, "Bobby, do you use Royal Purple in a generator?" I said, "Well, no, I never thought about it. This is years ago." And so the bottom line is that, can you use Royal Purple? I said, "Well, sure." So I put this in my generator that we use as backup power for the studio, and we haven't had to use it in years. The bottom line, it runs quieter than it did with regular oil in it. And that was a surprise to me, because I didn't know that oil had any effect on noise of an engine, but obviously on those engines. And I don't like generator noises anyway, but mainly because it's always connected to a hurricane in my area. So that's what I'd recommend for you, Eric, because I know that's a quality oil. And I would think about using, well, go to their site and see what they recommend, because I'm not qualified to tell you, but understand this, Chris Barker is the technical director, and they call him the tech guy. He will take your call at Royal Purple. So you can call royalpurple.com and ask for Chris Barker, and he will take your call, and he is qualified to answer your question. And thank you so much from Kansas there. I see that at Dudley, with an F250, Dudley, I apologize. I'm not going to be able to fit you in properly on this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic from Missouri. I would ask that you call next week. We're live from 10 till noon Eastern Time every Saturday. And quickly, let's see, only have a minute or so. I just want you to know that I appreciate everyone that appreciates and believes in what I share with you. It means a lot to me. I was going to share some best features in autos, and your calls took precedence. We've got a sweepstakes promo, another Bobby's Big Gas Sweepstakes. Go to carclinicsweepstakes.com and enter, because we're going to give away a lot of stuff, and including dollars. So go to Car Clinic Sweepstakes and tick your calendar next Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on your favorite local affiliate, and watch Bobby live. Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Like us, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Common myth, ethanol ruins engines. Fact is quite the opposite. Virtually every engine maker provides warranty coverage for E10 ethanol blends. Yes, since ethanol's intro as a fuel source in the late 70s, auto manufacturers have continuously upgraded fuel system components so that today they are all compatible with ethanol fuels. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Drive to ethanolrfa.org.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Driving a cab in this town can drive you nuts. It's like hurry up and wait. Last week, I'm stuck behind a bus on Broadway when that pastrami on ride catches up with me. Ooh, heartburn big time. Guy in the back seat says, "Here, take a Zantac 75. I say, "What are you, a doctor?" And he says, "Yeah."
Zantac 75 relieves heartburn anywhere, anytime.
A real gentleman, that doctor.
Zantac 75, the heartburn relief doctors trust.
Hi, Tom Bodette from Motel 6. Baby boomers ain't babies anymore. Ties as wide as your belly are out. So are bell-bottom pants. Oh, wait, bell-bottoms are back in. Well, spending more money than you have to is still definitely out. So save money, stay at Motel 6, and get with the times. And before you go making fun of your kid's haircut, you might want to check out your old yearbook. Talk about what goes around comes around. I'm Tom Bodette from Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.